Hello there, welcome to another lesson on Learning Wagtail, provided by learnwagtail.com. In this lesson, we're going to be adding a contact page with an actual form. Now, this is going to get a wee bit tricky because our original template, contact, has these two parts, and we're going to see exactly what I mean in just a few minutes. So we're going to create a contact page. We're going to need a new contact app. We need a title, subtitle, and some customizable form, which is not just your name, email address, and apparently email address twice. This is actually going to be a proper form where you can customize the fields in it. Now, first things first, we are going to need to Python manage.py start app. We're going to call it contact. Let's head on over to our editor and open up base.py. That's in our settings, and just like before, we're going to add the contact app. Now in here, we're going to have a models.py file, a contact folder, models.py. And we're going to need to do a couple of things. First, we're going to need to do all sorts of imports. And by first, I mean, I'll probably do that last because I tend to do that later. Then we need to create some sort of form field, and this is an abstract form field. And then we're going to create a contact page using Wagtail's abstract email form. So let's do this in reverse order because I think this might make a little more sense if we do it backwards. So we're going to create a contact page, and this is going to be an abstract email form, and that comes from Wagtail. We'll import that in just a second. What do we got here? Wow, not bad. Pretty good, actually. Okay, good job, Copilot. But to not leave you hanging, we have a template. We can do this with any of our other pages. We just haven't been doing it. So this one is going to look for the template in a contact folder and a file called contact page. Now, there's also a landing page, and that's going to look like contact page underscore landing.html by default. It's just going to add underscore landing to the end. I'll show you what that means in just a second. Subpages, nothing. Can only live under the home page. Thank you text is going to be a rich text field with apparently all the features. Our content panels are going to come from the abstract email form that is up here. Again, we have not imported that. Whatever those content panels are, plus this stuff. Now we actually want to add a little more in here. We want to add a field panel, and we want a subtitle, which we're going to add in just a moment because I forgot to add that in. Field panel. And this one is going to be form fields, which we'll add in just a moment. No label. We can add a label to this called form fields. And then actually that's not a field panel. This is actually going to be an inline panel. I'll show you why again in just a second, so please hold, please bear with me. And then we want a field panel in here for the thank you text, which we already have. What else do we need? Let's do a multi-field panel. We're going to group some of this content together. This takes a list. This is going to be a field row panel, which means we're going to have a list of field panels that are going to be side by side. Field panel. This is going to be the from address. We don't need the class name of col6, I don't believe. And then we're going to add the to address. And in this multi-field panel, we also want the field panel of subject. Now, you're probably wondering, what the heck, Caleb? Where are you getting these from? And I will import, and then I'll show you from wagtail.contrib.forms.models import. And we're going to import the abstract email form and the abstract form field because we're going to use this one in just a second. Now, if I right click and go to definition or look at the source code on GitHub, we have an email form mixin, right? Oh, look at that. It's a Wagtail page. It's a form mixin. This looks like it's probably straight from Django, and an email form mixin. When we look at the code underneath the hood, we have a to address, from address, and a subject. We have process form submission. We have a send mail function. We've got render email. We've got a couple, actually that's pretty much it. But that is all underneath the hood. And you can always find that in the source code because Wagtail is open source and cool that way. All right. Now let's do a little bit of importing here because I want to get rid of these squiggly underlines. It's panels because we use modern Wagtail. Rich text field, and that is not using core. And that is good for now. Okay, now we have this inline panel called form fields. Now you probably noticed when I looked at this source code, kept going to definition in here. Uh-oh, that one fella, he's trouble. Form fields, where are the form fields? Get form fields, okay. Or get form fields, get form, oh no, like it's not a property, what do we do? Whenever you see an inline panel, you can assume that it is an orderable of some kind. So let's look at this abstract form field, which we're going to use in just a second. Look at that, behind the scenes, it's an orderable. And what is an orderable behind that? It is nothing but a Django model with a sort order and a sort order field. That's it. So we're going to close it. We're going to try to not overthink this too much. And we're going to add a form field. And this is going to be an abstract form field. And in here, we're going to say the page is equal to, oh, close guess, but actually not a close guess. We're going to use a parental key. This is going to go to the contact page. Now, we've used a parental key in orderables before when we were using a snippet. Yeah, we want to say on delete. And the related name is going to be form fields. Here we go, that form fields, there we go. That's starting to match up nicely. And we need to import. Nope, that's not the one we need to import. From model cluster.fields import parental key. And okay, I think that's it. We're gonna see if I did something wrong. Yeah, I did already. I need to open my terminal. I totally forgot subtitle. Let's go ahead and add that. Subtitle is equal to models dot char field. Max length 255, blank is equal to true. That's good enough. And then Django's not complaining. What do? We always make migrations when we add a new page. We always apply those migrations or our database changes. Let's go into our admin and we're going to add a new page. And contact page shows up. Look at that. We're going to say contact. Promote is going to be, yep, we're going to click this little guy. Show in menus. Subtitle is going to be, what did we want that subtitle to be? Got a question or proposal? Just say hello, yada, yada, yada. Cool. Form fields. This is where we're going to get a little bit tricky. That label is going to be your name. Help text. We currently don't seem to support that in the template, although we could, but it's not showing up, so we're not going to work with it. Is it required? Yes, it's a required field. And what is this field supposed to be? And this field is going to be a single line of text. Then we're going to add another field. This one is going to be called email address. Then we can say this one is going to be an email. And the last one is going to be multi-line text, and we'll call it your message. Thank you page is going to say thank you. Boop, just like that. We're going to make this bigger text, so maybe that's an H2. The from address is going to be, this is where it gets tricky again. If you actually want to send an email, it needs to be a real email address registered with a proper place. Usually I use the service called Postmark. So if I go to postmarkapp.com, I can set up my Django app quite easily using a package called Postmarker. We're not going to get into that right now because we're not actually sending proper emails, but we could definitely do that. But to go back here, so I'm going to say the from address is going to be caleb@caleb.io, and the to address, when someone fills out this form, who is going to go to caleb@caleb.io. I guess I'm just going to email myself from the server, and this is going to say new contact form as the subject. Now, something that's kind of cool that I like doing, one second, I'm just going to save draft here. I'm going to open up this preview, and we can see that this does not work, which is fine. But down here, we've got form and landing page. So we can actually preview both of them. Now, this is a little bit different from a standard page because we have two templates. So let's go into our contact app. We're going to create a folder called templates, subfolder called contact, and then contact_page.html. I'm going to get us quickly set up with how this is just going to work. There we go. Oh, okay, good enough. And then what I want to do is go into our original project, the actual source code of our template, and I'm going to steal all this good stuff. And did I take enough? Did I maybe take too much? Well, we'll find out. Paste. Publish the page. View the live page. And contact page does not seem to work. Again, I probably honestly have a typo, but I'm going to restart Django anyways and assume that I don't. Apparently I don't. Twice in a row. From the last video to this video, that does not ever happen. All right, we got that icon envelope. We need to go and change that. We've done this numerous times, and this is part of Wagtailifying a static website. We're going to static, use that image. The page name, whatever we want to call that, page.title, that's what we used in the admin. We have a subtitle, page.subtitle, and then we have some form stuff in there. Now, we need to do a couple of things. First, in this form, we're going to say the action is a page URL and this page. So it's going to, ideally, method is equal to, wait for it, it's going to post onto itself. Now, because we're using Django, we also need to do this thing called CSRF token, which is going to prevent other forms from other websites from submitting data and sending it to our website. This just helps ensure that people are sending it from your website. Honestly, it's easily spoofed, but Django's looking for it anyways, so we're gonna put that in there. Now, I am gonna, just like before, add a whole bunch of HRs, and I just wanna show you what this form can look like. So we can do form.asUL, and you'll notice it's not page.form. It's not page.form, it's just form. Let's go ahead and take a look at what this looks like. And okay, we got a form. We got some styling to do, but we have a form. Whew, okay. We have our name, email address, and our message. That is exactly what we put in here. And it is handling a lot of different things for us. For instance, the email field is type email. If I go into here, email address, field type is email, which means HTML5 is going to try to kick in with its own natural validation, which is lovely. But this doesn't quite look right. So what do we do? Oh no, this seems like a lot of work. Fortunately, it's not. Also, before we move forward, I just want to make sure that this button down here that says send message, type is submit, and it's not just a button that's not going to look, that's not going to do anything. It doesn't just look good, it actually does something. All right. So what I want to do next, I think off the top of my head, hopefully this is the right order of operations, for field in form and for, so we're going to loop through each field. And then I am basically going to take, which one do I want to take here? The styling. I'm just looking for the right one here. So the name is a single line. This is, okay. You know what? We're just going to grab something and we're going to roll with it. So I'm going to grab this one. Actually, I'm going to put the whole form in here first because we got some Flexbox stuff apparently. /div. Indent, because that makes my developer brain happy, especially as a Python developer. Paste that previous stuff in there from down below. That's from down here. And we're going to say for every field, we are going to, oh man, this formatting is painful to work with. There we go. We're going to add the field.label tag. And then the input in here is going to be literally just the field. And let's maybe, we'll comment that out for now and just see what this looks like so far. I like to do a little check-in every now and then. All right, starting to look better. right? This is the original one. This is the one from the template. This is, okay, not quite 3 columns. What do you want? Flex column, small something is amiss here. I think maybe we don't actually want the flex box. Closer. It's getting closer. Okay, actually, let's maybe peek at this again. Name, email address, message. Okay, that's looking all right. We're getting there. Let's get rid of this, get rid of the HR, and we're also going to hide pretty much all of that. And I want to see what happens if we try to fill out a form, but it's missing something. This is the validation kicking in. Oh no, okay, cool. Well, if there were errors, we might want to show them. And I'm going to show you how to do that as well, because people tend to fill out forms and miss parts of it. So out of the for loop near the bottom, usually what I do is for error in field.errors. Yeah, maybe we actually do want it in here. Put it underneath the label. And I'm gonna write some stuff in here. I don't know if it's totally supported in this template or not, but we're gonna try anyways. Div class is equal to alert danger. We're just gonna put the error in there as text / div, and then I'm gonna show you how to break this. Let's go ahead and refresh. Now this is validating based on an email, but we do change that to text in our document object model. We're going to say my name is test, email address is, doesn't matter, test, and lol. Now we should see some sort of error message underneath the email address. There it is, right there. Enter a valid email address. Styling didn't work out the way I wanted it to, but I can leave that up to you. Now this is again one of those tricky parts when it comes to Wagtail, right? Because we have a form that's being automatically generated, and it seems like we really don't have too much control. Now, there are ways to add more control. There is a package called Widget Tweaks, and I can't remember if that comes with Django extensions or not. But Widget Tweaks allows us to add some extra stuff to the field, like classes, or how to determine what the field's type is. But because we are not going to get into that, what we can do instead is add this class as, I don't know, we'll call it a form. And then we can do this really dirty thing that a lot of front-end developers will cry at when they see me doing this. But we're basically going to say, there's a form. And in this form, maybe we want to target, every one of these is going to be something different. So maybe this is a column. Right, for every form, for every column, do border 1 pixel solid red, just as a terrible example to show you how this works. So now we can target it using CSS. Now the original design has all sorts of stuff in here. But where is it? Oh, I deleted it, that's why. Look at all these classes. It's got all sorts of classes in there. You're probably gonna wanna add those into your styling. The best way to do that, in my opinion, honestly, is just, the Tailwind or the CSS way. If you don't have access to that, again, Widget Tweaks is probably going to be your best friend. So I'm going to now do a little bit of cleanup. Get rid of all of this. By the way, I feel like that is it's a tricky trade-off. Having a form that looks like this, that's not fantastic by any means. But we still have a lot of control as developers, and your content team can now make their own forms super easily. They can add checkboxes and radio boxes and all sorts of different things in there. And we don't have to, as developers, write those forms for them, which is, so beautiful. So I feel like that's a valid trade-off. Now, the next thing we want to do The indenting, if the indenting is driving you nuts, I just want to let you know it's also driving me nuts. Oh, so painful. Anyway, I digress. The next thing we need to do is when we submit this form, say my name is Caleb, Caleb at caleb.io, Caleb, la 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 la. I'm going to go and submit this form, and it goes to contact page landing. We need to create that page. What I'm going to do is literally just save this page, the exact same page, and I'm going to keep the title and subtitle because this landing page is still going to be coming from the contact page, which still is a Wagtail page behind the scenes. And go over here and we'll see once it loads, there it is. It's still a Wagtail page, so we have access to the standard page object inside of our template. We don't need the form anymore, but maybe we want some rich text in there, which was going to be our thank you text. So then we can put a little field in here called rich text, and page.rich thank you text. Rich text is going to be the filter we use. Wagtail core tags, we're going to need to load that in order to use rich text. Let's save that and refresh the page. Yes, we're going to submit that, and it just says thank you. Okay, it needs a little extra styling. Now what's really nice about this is when we're editing our page in our preview mode, we can click on the landing page and we can actually see it in here. So this is what it's going to look like on mobile, and this is what it's going to look like in tablet mode and desktop mode. Kind of hard to see. But right here, that's what it's going to look like. So we can actually style it and test it out a little bit easier this way. Now, when someone submits a form, we're going to see that there's this new little section over here on the left called Forms. We've got a page called Contact. It is a contact page. We can click directly into that page as well. And we can look at these submissions. So these are the submissions, your name, your email address, your message. We can delete all of them. We can download them as a spreadsheet or a CSV. We can apply some filters from when these were submitted. And now we have a contact form. Now, the last thing I want to show you is in my terminal, it is trying to send an email. Now, it's going to use 7-bit encoding. Ooh, this is going to be tricky. The subject is new contact form from address to address. The message is just this, your name, your email address, and your message. So it's in plain text at this point. Very, very straightforward. It's nothing fancy, but if you wanted to get fancy with it, absolutely you can do that. That's beyond the scope of this video and beyond the scope of this little mini series, but you can overwrite and change all of it. Everything in Wagtail is 100% customizable. Not true. Most things are pretty customizable. And this is one of those things that is definitely customizable. So that's how we add a contact page. As a quick recap, because this video is already quite long, we created a contact page from an abstract email form. We added our own 2 fields, and we also added a bunch of content panels. The only 2 fields that we added are the thank you text and the subtitle. The form fields come from an inline, which is the abstract form field up here. Remember, behind the scenes, that's an orderable. Orderables always use inline. We have a multi-field panel with a field row panel, which shows you content that you can, you know what, I'm not even going to explain it. I'm just going to show it to you. Let's go back to our page. Thank you text. We have this section in here, so a row, what did I call it? Oh, wow. A field row panel allows you to have 2 fields side by side, and then, something below it or above it if you want. Our templates have a form. Don't forget your CSRV. Don't forget your action and method is supposed to be post. You can loop through all your form fields, or you can do form.as_ul. Form.as_ul. That's a good one to use, and you can just style it that way if you wanted to. Your button should always be type submit. What else? Landing page. Yeah, you got a landing page in here. That's why we have that thank you text field. And when you want a landing page, it's just whatever your contact page template is called, with the extra _landing just before the .html. And that's all it is. When someone submits a form, you will see it in your admin under forms. If you have multiple contact pages, this will show up various times. And that's pretty much it. That is pretty much it. All right, in the next lesson, we're going to go ahead and we're going to clean up our project a little bit. So thank you for tuning in to this rather long video, and I'll see you in the next one.